Neighbor, if you've ever planted something in your garden and it just refused to grow, no sprouts, no progress, nothing but disappointment, you're not alone. Every beginner faces that moment where you wonder if gardening is supposed to be this hard. But here's the truth. It's only hard when you start with the wrong plants. There are vegetables so simple, so forgiving, so ready to grow that it feels like they take care of themselves. You just drop the seeds into the soil, give them a bit of water, and step back. No special skills, no complicated steps, no stress. And today, I'm going to show you 8 of the easiest vegetables anyone can grow, even if your gardening experience is zero. These are the plants that almost always succeed, the ones that boost your confidence and give you quick, happy results. But we're going one step further. I'm also going to show you how to harvest each one the right way, so they keep producing again and again throughout the season. All right then, neighbor, let's get started. Before we jump into the list, let me tell you something simple. Gardening becomes so much easier when you start with the right kind of plants. And the vegetables in this video all share 4 things that make them perfect for beginners. First, they come with clear, proven instructions. How deep to plant them, how much sun they need, how long they take to sprout. Everything is already well documented. You just follow the steps, and they grow. Second, they grow fast. Fast-growing plants don't give pests much time to attack. They recover quickly from mistakes, and they give you that early success every beginner needs. Third, they grow well in small spaces, pots, grow bags, balconies, patios, anywhere. You don't need a big backyard to succeed. And finally, they don't ask for much. These are low-maintenance plants that don't need special fertilizers, complicated pruning, or constant attention. Let's start with one of the quickest confidence boosters you can plant: radishes. Radishes are one of the most satisfying vegetables a beginner can grow, mainly because they deliver results fast. Within 3 to 5 days, tiny green sprouts break through the soil, giving you that instant feeling of progress. And in about 25 to 30 days, you'll be pulling up crisp, colorful roots ready for salads, roasting, or snacking straight from the garden. Their speed alone makes them beginner-friendly. You don't wait long, you don't stress long, and if something goes wrong, you replant immediately. What makes radishes even easier is their low-maintenance nature. They grow well in shallow containers, raised beds, and even between other crops. They don't ask for rich soil or heavy feeding. Loose soil and regular, light moisture are enough. Because they prefer cool weather, radishes thrive in spring and fall throughout the U.S., making them a flexible choice for gardeners in both warm and cold regions. And here's the secret to having radishes almost year-round: successive planting. Instead of sowing all your seeds at once, plant a small row every 7 to 10 days. As one batch finishes, the next one is already growing. This one simple routine keeps your harvest continuous. Harvesting correctly matters too. Pull radishes when they reach about 1 inch across. Waiting too long makes them woody or hollow inside. Don't worry about hurting the plant. Radishes are a one-and-done crop. After harvesting, simply loosen the soil and sow new seeds in the same spot. They grow so fast that the space never sits empty. Now moving on to a leafy green that almost every beginner falls in love with: lettuce. Lettuce is one of the easiest and most dependable vegetables for beginners, not only because it grows quickly, but because it continuously produces fresh leaves when harvested the right way. It doesn't demand perfect soil or deep containers. Even a simple pot on a balcony can give you weeks, sometimes months, of homegrown greens. Lettuce thrives in cool weather. which makes early spring and fall ideal seasons across most of the U.S., but it can also be grown in partial shade during summer to keep it from overheating. One of the biggest advantages of lettuce is how flexible it is. If the weather is unpredictable, lettuce adapts. If sunlight is inconsistent, it still grows. If you forget a watering or two, it bounces back. It's the kind of plant that forgives mistakes while quietly giving you a steady harvest. And here's where lettuce truly shines. Cut and come again harvesting. Instead of pulling the whole plant, you simply cut the outer leaves and leave the center untouched. New leaves will grow back within days, allowing continuous harvesting from the same plant for weeks. For a constant supply, sow a handful of seeds every 2 to 3 weeks. This method ensures a rotating cycle of fresh, tender greens. To keep your lettuce productive, provide light morning sun, consistent moisture, and mulch to keep the roots cool. If hot weather arrives, harvest earlier and more often to prevent bitterness. For beginners, lettuce feels like a reliable friend, easy, generous, and always ready to grow again. Next up, let's talk about a plant that stays strong even when conditions change. Spinach. Few vegetables rise with the same quiet strength as spinach, a plant that thrives even when conditions aren't perfect. In most parts of the U.S., spinach thrives in early spring and fall, but it can also grow through mild winters in the South. What makes spinach especially beginner-friendly is how flexible and resilient it is. It grows well in containers, raised beds, small gardens, or even tucked between other vegetables. It doesn't need rich soil or heavy feeding, just steady moisture and partial sun. Within 2 to 3 weeks of sowing, you'll see a thick carpet of deep green leaves forming. And unlike many vegetables, spinach tolerates light frost, uneven watering, and days with less than ideal sunlight. It simply keeps growing. The key to continuous spinach harvest is using the outer leaf picking method. Rather than pulling up the entire plant, pinch or cut the outer, mature leaves while leaving the center rosette intact. New leaves will quickly emerge from the middle, allowing you to harvest from the same plant for several weeks. For steady supplies, sow a small patch every 2 or 3 weeks. This creates an easy rotation of young and mature plants. To prevent bitterness during warmer weather, harvest more frequently and provide afternoon shade. Next up is another strong contender for beginners: peas, one of the sweetest and most effortless crops you can grow. Peas have a natural charm. They climb, bloom, and produce without demanding much from you. As long as the weather stays cool and the soil remains lightly moist, peas reward even the most inexperienced gardeners with fast, crisp, delicious pods. They thrive in early spring and fall across most regions of the United States, and in northern climates, they're often one of the very first vegetables planted after winter. Peas don't need deep soil or fancy fertilizer. A simple trellis or a few sticks tied together will do. Their vertical growth makes them perfect for tight spaces, patios, or balconies. In 50 to 60 days, vines burst into flowers that quickly become plump pods. And here's the secret to keeping them productive: harvest early and often. Regular picking encourages plants to create more blossoms. But if pods stay too long on the vine, the plant slows down, thinking its job is done. For the best flavor, pick peas when the pods are full, but still tender. Gently pinch them or snip with scissors to avoid damaging the vines. To enjoy peas for a longer season, sow new rows every 2 weeks, as long as the weather remains cool. Peas reward beginners with abundance. The more you pick, the more they give. Next, we have a plant that beginners absolutely love: zucchini, the undisputed heavyweight of garden productivity. Zucchini has a reputation for producing more food than almost any other vegetable. A single healthy plant can deliver pounds of fruit each week, making it perfect for beginners craving big results with minimal effort. Zucchini grows best in warm weather and full sun, but it also adapts well to raised beds, large containers, or small plots. It enjoys loose soil and steady watering, but isn't demanding. Once established, zucchini grows fast, leaves expand rapidly, flowers appear daily, and fruits seem to double overnight. The key to a long, abundant harvest is simple. Pick the fruits while they're still small. Harvest zucchini when they reach 6 to 8 inches. Smaller fruits are sweeter, tenderer, and harvesting early signals the plant to produce more. Letting zucchinis grow too large slows the plant down drastically. Cut fruits cleanly with a knife or pruning shears to avoid damaging the stems. While harvesting, remove old or damaged leaves for better airflow. This helps prevent powdery mildew, a common issue with zucchini. Check your plants daily during peak season. Zucchini can grow shockingly fast. For extended harvests, plant a second or third zucchini a few weeks apart. Zucchini gives beginners something rare, massive production with very little difficulty. Give it sun and water, and it will feed you all summer long. Let's shift over to the next star of the garden, cherry tomatoes, the most beginner-friendly tomatoes you can grow. Unlike large tomato varieties that demand constant pruning and perfect soil, cherry tomatoes grow with enthusiasm and resilience. They thrive in full sun, warm weather, and simple care. And once they start producing, they rarely stop. Cherry tomatoes grow well in containers, raised beds, traditional gardens, and grow bags. They appreciate rich soil and steady watering, but they're far more forgiving than big slicing tomatoes. Even if you make mistakes, cherry tomatoes push forward, sending out clusters of blossoms that turn into sweet, juicy fruit. Around 55-70 days after planting, the first trusses ripen. The secret to non-stop production is simple. Pick early and pick often. Once tomatoes begin changing color, they can be harvested. This frees the plant's energy to grow new flowers and new fruit. Waiting too long can slow production dramatically. Use 2 fingers to gently twist ripe tomatoes off the vine, or use scissors to avoid damaging branches. As the plant grows taller, remove lower leaves touching the soil, and tie the plant to sturdy support for better airflow and disease prevention. And here's a name that absolutely belongs on this list: strawberries. One of the most rewarding and family-friendly crops a beginner can grow. Strawberries are perennial plants, which means they come back year after year with just a little care. They grow beautifully in raised beds, containers, hanging baskets, and even small patio gardens. Whether you have a big yard or just a sunny corner, strawberries fit right in. What makes them especially beginner-friendly is their ability to multiply. As they grow, they send out long stems called runners, each one forming a baby plant that roots itself in the soil. With just a few starter plants, you can build an entire strawberry patch in one season. Strawberries love full sun and steady moisture, but they adapt well to less than perfect soil. Mulching around the plants keeps the fruit clean and helps maintain moisture. And when it comes to harvesting, the key to continuous fruiting is simple. Pick berries as soon as they turn fully red. Overripe berries left on the plant slow down new production. Lift the fruit gently and cut the stem with scissors to avoid damaging the crown. To maximize yield through the season, remove most of the runners during fruiting. This keeps the plant's energy focused on making berries instead of making babies. After harvest slows down, you can allow runners to root and expand your patch. And finally, the plant that closes today's list: Swiss chard, one of the most beautiful and forgiving leafy greens you can grow. With its brightly colored stems, ranging from gold to ruby red to deep pink, Swiss chard brings both beauty and incredible resilience to any garden. It thrives in containers, raised beds, and backyard plots, making it a perfect choice for beginners who want a plant that's both useful and stunning. Swiss chard grows well in both cool and warm weather, giving it one of the longest growing seasons of any leafy green. Even when other greens struggle with heat or inconsistent conditions, chard keeps pushing out fresh leaves. It's a workhorse that doesn't quit. Within just a few weeks of planting, young leaves become large enough to harvest. And here's the best part. Swiss chard is a true cut-and-come-again crop. Instead of pulling the whole plant, simply harvest the outer leaves by cutting them near the base. Leave the center intact, and new leaves will continue to grow for months, sometimes the entire year in mild climates. For the sweetest, tenderest leaves, pick them when they're young, about the size of your hand. Larger leaves are great for sautéing, soups, and stir-fries. To keep chard producing non-stop, water consistently and remove yellowing leaves to encourage fresh growth. Swiss chard is the perfect finale to this list. Colorful, reliable, productive, and incredibly beginner-friendly. Before we wrap up, let me show you a few common problems new gardeners often face, and how to fix them quickly. These issues are nothing to worry about. With a few simple adjustments, your plants can bounce back faster than you think. If your plants seem to be stuck and not growing, the most common reason is lack of sunlight. Most vegetables need 6 to 8 hours of direct sun, so try moving your container or bed to a brighter location. For indoor seedlings, adding a small grow light makes a big difference. Yellow leaves are another frequent concern. If the bottom leaves are turning yellow, your plant likely needs more nutrients. Add compost or a balanced fertilizer. If the top leaves are yellowing, you may be overwatering or dealing with poor drainage. Make sure your pot has enough holes for excess water to escape. When the soil dries out too quickly, add a thin layer of mulch such as straw, dry leaves, or shredded bark. Fabric grow bags also help keep moisture balanced while improving airflow. If insects chew young leaves, spray with diluted soapy water or a gentle neem oil mix. Always check the underside of leaves, where pests often hide. And if your seeds aren't sprouting, the soil is usually too cold or too dry. For early spring planting in the U.S., ensure the soil stays above 50 degrees Celsius, 10 degrees Celsius, and lightly moist. You can warm the soil by covering it with clear plastic for a couple of days, or start seeds indoors until temperatures rise. With these quick fixes, your garden will be back on track in no time. As we finish today's video, I hope you feel more confident about stepping into your own garden, even if it's your very first time. And the 8 vegetables we covered today weren't chosen at random. These are the crops I've gathered from years of real gardening experience. The same ones I've recommended to friends, neighbors, and even people who had never touched a garden before. And every single one of them found success. So choose one of these crops, maybe 2, and start this week. The perfect moment isn't someday, it's when you decide to plant that first seed. If this video helped you, feel free to like or subscribe. Take care, enjoy your growing season, and I'll see you, neighbor, in the next video.